Welcome to the Quantum Cafe and Interstellar Lounge with your host here, the Cosmic Messenger. I am feeling absolutely incredible today. It's a wonderful opportunity to come on and share a little bit more of the multidimensional happenings on Earth through the multiverse, because this is a hub where we can get wild, fantastical, magical, and crazy, right? First off, I finished a couple music videos recently for a couple tracks off of my newest album on Bandcamp called The Fantastical Mechanics of Quantum Ascension and Supreme Metaphysical Tools. As with everything that I create, it is all about the cosmic realms and helping people become the illuminated masterpiece that they are. So, the video before this one, I believe, has my newest one up. And very close to that, there's another one as well, too. It's the newest one is on the Ascended Masters and Archangels. It is fantastic. And the one before it is Quantum Modalities. Boom! Using for ascension processes, right? Okay. So today I wanted to come on and chat. And I don't know if anybody felt this. It was yesterday, Victoria time, Victoria, BC, about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I think. Might have been earlier. I just felt this huge overwhelming in a good way, because I do a lot of work to be able to handle the process of the energy, but it just hit me like a wave. It was like an instant kundalini rise. You could feel it in the room. I took a pause. Whoa, what is going on here? Some sort of Stargate opening, gamma rays definitely coming through on Earth. The templates, the 12th dimensional templates that we work with are increasing their potency. So there's some big time stuff that is happening with the moon in Pisces yesterday, or is that today? Oh my gosh, so much happening. It's pretty wild. So today I wanted to come on. We're going to chat a little bit about so the wild, fantastical things that happen to people that they see, hear, and feel. Particularly the stuff that happens through our eyes. All the wild stuff that some of us don't really have an avenue or an outlet to be able to share. There's no place to be able to share these wild, fantastical happenings. I mean, the first one that comes to mind is seeing an entity. Particularly, people will say ghosts or apparitions and all that stuff. And those are very real happenings as well, too. But we're coming into this age now where we can make these videos, talk to people. It's a lot more open-minded. We have so much work to do. But the multiverse, our reality, our outerverse, is completely filled with entities. Entities that, when we leave the body, let's give you this. Your aura, your energy field, your Merkaba, your being, is about the size of a giant house. That's how vibrant and big we are. Super cool, right? These entities cover up a lot more space, but they're everywhere. There is so many of them. If we think what's on Earth in physical form, and then we think what's off planet in physical form, and you take all those beings all over the galaxies, all over the place, in every universe. That's a pinpoint of how much happens in the spirit realm in terms of beings and stuff like that. I regularly see them all the time. In different forms they take place. You might have and also what this video is for is to remind you that these experiences, I don't have to validate them, but they're valid, they're real, they're important. They're not fake. And don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. And if somebody can't understand it, then you're going to have to power up to the point where it doesn't affect you as much. I still have my moments, of course. So an entity, like a black mass kind of flies by and goes in and out. You kind of see it for a bit and then it flies by. Or your cat looks up and turns their head up, right? And looks out. Well, what are they looking at? And you can sometimes feel the wind, the energy coming by you. Those are entities. They could be your spirit guides, beings from other dimensions. Majority of them, nothing to fear, nothing to be scared about. It's like walking down the city streets and there's all these beings around, right? In different forms. Almost all of them, they're helping us. Yeah, there can be some situations that aren't exactly ideal, certain abductions, entity attachments, stuff like that. But generally, there is nothing to fear. We release that. We let go of it, but we use protection. I protect myself. I put up my gold shield, my aura up. I grab my crystal that's important to me, and nothing will enter my field that is not for my highest good. Okay, so you have that mass flyby, and those things happen regularly. I've talked about them before, but ear tones are huge in the playing field of what's going on. And in that playing field, when you have an ear tone activate, you're registering signals that are going around you. Now, they're not all meaning presences in the room in terms of another entity, but sometimes they are. Other times you're hearing the frequencies of Earth, the solar system, or the waves that come flying in. And those waves are fantastical. What? You can hear portions of the light spectrum? Whoa! You can hear portions of solar flares coming in, or the Schumann resonance raising itself? That's amazing. What about for beings out there who see particles? Since I was a kid, every single place I look, no matter where I'm looking, I still have my vision regularly, but it's filled with particles. The particulate matter. That's how I knew that the energy, or that the universe, universal life force energy, was real. It's in everything. I see it in what would be called static objects, say like a table or a chair. They're vibrating completely. I don't know if you know this, but if you zoom in with a microscope into any piece of material, even a rock, a ladder, my camera, it's vibrating. That's cool, right? So these particles, so if you're seeing lots of particles, know that you're tapping into the energy field. You have a natural ability to see that stuff. Sometimes I'll look out my window. And this one's not as common, but common enough. There'll be days where we're getting bathed with photonic light. And I'll see a whole bunch of little mini dodecahedrons. Type that one in, sacred geometry. Dodecahedron. And there's millions of them raining down. They're going through the walls, through me, outside, touching nature. It's incredible. That's the photon band coming through. Right? So people see particles in their different ways. When we unite all of our abilities together, then we have the ability to see even more and to chat with people about what they're having. Some beings, including myself, will have like, I'm walking down the street and then boom, right where my hands are. Okay, this frame cuts out, flies away. I see what's in there. And then this quickly flips back and goes right back to where I was. It's like a trans-dimensional happening. Seeing through the illusions, watching other parts and other dimensions take place. Let's say you're a huge visualizer, visualizing out of your third eye. And no matter what you think of right now, with your eyes open, you can see it in front of you. You can overlay it on top of reality. You can draw symbols over top of it. You could put, like, for instance, 3 crystals layered together for an easy one, or you can see all the books you've ever had, and you can grow them, and you can shrink them, and you can move them. Those are activities of heightened sensory perceptions and abilities. That's fantastical happenings, right? It's astral plane stuff. There's some beings on Earth. We're talking about seeing all these fantastical things. Sometimes you see, like, people talk about orbs all the time, but sometimes you see different patterns of light coming through, and it just, or a quick flash, and you're like, whoa, what just happened there? These are very real experiences. How about you're walking and your feet are touching the ground, and every time you make contact, all of a sudden you feel a big glow underneath them. Earth chakra underneath your feet, pointing to the exact spot. That's wild. On occasion, I'll also have these pinpoints on my eyes. Other people have reported them too, where it goes into this fine little tiny needle point and concentrates all the energy there, and it's like pointing right at an exact spot. Other times you see the whole picture. You feel like you're on top of the earth. Whoa, I went on a I had deep relaxation meditation and I went really far up. Well, you did. You actually went there. You stayed physical and you went there at the same time. Here's other wild things that happen on Earth, all these supernatural abilities. Levitation is very real. From what I hear, when we go deeper down the spectrum with these abilities, that they're going to be used for just purely positive purposes. Because once we get our egos in check, we're not going to be running around showing off. We're going to have fun with these things, but they're going to be initiated for certain purposes. But levitation is very real. There's also beings on this planet, living human characters, okay? And other beings who live multiple hundreds of years. A couple hundred, 300, 600. And this has been happening throughout human history. How fantastical is that? So you have those experiences happen as well, right? Or sometimes you're just like being in your everyday life and you're like, oh my gosh, that just feels like something just like encoded into me and kind of shifted. Almost like you look at the ground and it like lifts up and you're like, well, I don't even feel like I'm standing here anymore. Or how about those moments? I'm on a roll. Where time bends. You've been having fun all night. You look at the clock, which is a bit of an illusion in itself, but you look at it and you're like, it's only been an hour. But it feels like 5 hours passed. You bent time. We all end up into the same now, but we have different lengths of time and places that comes and enters into our field, right? Some beings look up to the sky and they see spaceships, physical and non-physical. Sometimes other dimensions come forth and show themselves for little periods of time. What about all the other fantastical creatures that used to be on Earth when millions, hundreds of millions of years ago, there was all sorts of wild mixed natural interbreeding? There is some experiments along the way, there's no doubt about that. But the centaurs and the unicorns and the chimeras and all those things, I don't think it was all quite as dark as it looked. But I mean, then again, the insect and reptilian realms and the dinosaur kingdom can be kind of intense, right? So who knows? But it's about being open to these possibilities. We're there. And all these wild things, so we have these rememberings and these knowings of different happenings. That's also fantastical. How about when you're in with nature and you can just see the energy cascading up the tree log, going through the branches and coming back in through the animal spirit guides? Well, there's another one. Animal spirit guides. How many of you have been in a situation where we see nature all the time? It's everywhere. Can't really get fully away from it. We can get pretty darn disconnected from it though. And all of a sudden an animal comes forth into your zone and instantly you're just like, spirit guide information, animal wisdom, totem, something clicks. That's an interdimensional message as well. It's not just a regular encounter. They're like prime moments for alternate shifting. How about for beings who see auras or sense an energy field around them and it can feel when it shifts as they come in and out of different humans and in different situations and at different times? What about beings? I know a couple who they spend so much time in the dream world while they're sleeping, going on multi-dreams with various people at the same time, having mass recollections of all of their adventures, remembering so many details, transmuting, shifting, biomorphing, going on galactic quests, waking up and those very things are in their new reality. The dream space is one that, we're sleeping for a third of our life. Well, most of us anyways. And that's a lot. So how wouldn't that part be valid to be more than just rest into the body? There is way more than that happens. Some beings go to like a sacred site or where crop circles were or currently are, and they get all this new information coming in, letting us know that there's extraterrestrial presence here, that there's new light codes coming through, that there's messages from the stars. What about all these light languages that are coming out? The authentic light language speakers. The ones that vocalize and work with it, the innate knowing that this comes back for galactic talk. There's a lot of them are coming forth and just sharing it regularly, no big deal. There's a lot of others that are kind of like going inside their heart and kind of, it's kind of hard for me to come out and share this stuff. Because I mean, it's something very fantastical. It's not easy to just put these things out there on a regular basis. For you who are holding on to it, you do as you please. But I love you and I like it. And there's a lot of us out there that are cheering you on to be your full self. And if you don't end up sharing it, that's okay too. But you recognize it and you're open to other people doing it, and it illuminates your surroundings, right? So you can walk through different dimensionary outputs. Now, these are some of the things that we're experiencing now. But just wait. Once we clean up all the toxic systems on Earth, once we clean up all of the pollutants on Earth, once we get things vibrating constantly at a super high frequency, and we're not focused on like dense, really dense pop culture information that's kind of taken over our entire lives, right? The dense, mundane realms that really don't elevate our life. When that goes, and we get right back to crystalline structures, we rewire our DNAs, we upshift our cellular networks, we get in touch with our aura, all of our chakra systems and our galactic cord. When the kundalini's rising on a regular basis, as Earth bathes more into the photonic band that we're currently in, we're getting deeper and deeper into it. When we access the 12th, 9th dimensional templates, right? When we have a spiritual practice that keeps us attuned on a regular basis. My partner walks around and she's beaming the light codes everywhere. I can feel them, like even if we just have like a nap together. I am so high after I wake up. You can invite these processes to accelerate. Just imagine all of the abilities that are going to come out once this takes place. Once we know how to manage and work with them in an authentic, beautiful, heart-centered way. So if you or anybody else you know has fantastical experiences, and you've been kind of in the shadows waiting to share them, and you find a safe container, or you can go over to them and say, hey, if you ever want to share these kind of things, I'm here for you. You're ace in my books, because this stuff is very real. It gets blocked out when we're children a lot of the times because we're being told, what's the main line you learn when you're a kid? It's just your imagination, Johnny. No, it's not just your imagination. It's very real. So thanks for listening. I'll put my link down at the bottom of the video for all to see. And thank you again for coming on and sharing in these wild multidimensional times. If you see particles everywhere, if you're traveling dimensions, that's awesome. So take care, and we'll talk to you soon.